Hello, are we good? Sound test? Yes, looks like it. Okay, gang. Welcome back to King Come Delivery. Pretty sure I just spent money on something. I have no clue. Like, we're making money. Did I just build the tavern, or... Yeah, it must have been, or something for it at least. Getting stuff. Anyways, it has been, well, about 2 weeks. I didn't mean to skip last time, but I was tying up loose ends in God of War, and one of them took significantly longer than I thought it would. And I wanted to cry, so that's what happened. But we're here today, and we have a lot of things to talk about. Aside from just that, we've got like, I don't know, 4 things. That's pretty cool. And this thing is profitable, so I don't have to like keep stressing about it anymore. Like, either stuff that I'm gonna build. Maybe I should try and get that 3,000, but you know, since we're not hemorrhaging money, I can just ignore this place if I wanted. Slept too long already. Alright, well, what were we doing? Band of Bastards stuff? The Ring of Bacchus? Right. Okay, wait. Bro kidneys. I don't have to worry about that really. The sword. Ruin. Ah, I just ignored that for a long time, apparently. Yeah. Looks like I can't do anything for, Oh, there it is, actually. I was missing it for some reason. Hagen Zoul. He's down there, so I think I want to do Ruin. Take care of that real quick. Be some easy money. It's on the way, too, so it's not doing anything crazy. Since it's night, I think I'm actually gonna fast travel for once. We can't sleep, and I don't really feel like waiting. Now let's go to Ledechko. At least until the sun's out. Then it might be safer to ride on our own. Success! Did we heard foreigners talking? We had to stop. Could have been some of them Q-miniums. Are we taking the long way? I'm sure it's quicker than if I went there myself, but still. Carcass. Stop. Nah. Check it out. We're at Ledechko anyway. Give me the slow clap.
What are you up to, poacher?
Wasn't me.
I wasn't hunting. That carcass was already lying there when I came.
What are you doing here? Looking for your kill, are you, you poacher? That dead deer?
I'm travelling the province in the service of Sir Radzig Kobyla.
Sir Radzig? Heavens, begging your pardon. I didn't mean anything. All right, I suppose you're not the guilty one after all.
I'm glad you saw sense. And what exactly were you doing here, anyway?
What are you getting at?
You're carrying the weapon.
You're carrying the murder weapon.
You won't prove it's the murder weapon, but I'll prove I know how to use it.
You know, if you didn't just accuse me, I wouldn't have had to accuse you, you son of a bitch.
It'll be easier for you if you confess. I know what happened. I won't leave criminals to roam the roads.
Oh, really? I'll tell you, if you try and pin something on me I haven't done, the whole fucking province will get to hear of it.
You're the poacher.
You can't go flinging around.
What the fuck is this?
Honest folk. I'm going to the town to report you. You see if I don't.
The only thing I'm poaching's dead meat.
Help! Quick, everyone!
Some bitch. The Morgenstern. What are the stats on that? I don't think I've ever seen one. It's alright. It's hollow though, it's a good design. A lot of, you know, a lot less wind resistance. Is that like a clock? Why is it so far from the village? It ain't catching fish. It could be a filter, but like, is that really good enough? Ain't powering nothing. Oh yeah, the deer. Those. I know I need 4 kidneys, but we ain't hunting right now, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. Excuse. Or don't. You don't have to. I don't care. They'll welcome me gladly in High Hrothgar. I don't need your approval. Oh, I see. It's hidden. In behind the main quest. Off to the side. Oh, oh. You call that combat? Ooh! Holy shit. It's a goddamn Black Knight. Woo!
Bring it on.
Woo! Woo! Probably gonna kill me. These guys are. These guys ain't fucking around.
What's the matter? Come on.
Oh dear, did that hurt?
Gone weak at the knees, have you?
Yeah, I saw that coming. Wonder how far back it'll put us. Howdy, gang. Welcome back to King Come to Loot. Jesus Christ, we're all the way back where we started. What? Right now, yeah. Oh. Why does it gotta take so long, though? I get that it's like rolling for events there every tick, but I don't know, do it quicker. Okay, let's try that again. And near to all the sound effects just go to like half volume.
Weapon away. That's forbidden.
Like all of it. Because the things are paused. Gotta be a fast travel thing.
Don't move. Give me all you have.
Draw! Roll out faster, Henry. Fuck.
Watch out! I see an enemy!
Bring it on!
God almighty, watch out! Over there, a bandit!
God almighty, it's a bandit!
What's the matter?
Watch out! There he is! Watch out, people! Some bandit there!
Miss!
You got yourself a Kel hat, some boar hide. Fashionable black hose.
Watch out! I see an enemy!
You're in the wrong
Watch
place
out!
at the wrong
There
time.
he is!
I think those ain't worth it. Whoa, whoa. Hey, leave him alone. How'd you pick out someone your own size, you big bully?
God almighty! Watch out! Over there! A bandit! There! You see him? There's the cunt! Watch out! I see an enemy!
This guy, he's got the real gear. That shiny warhammer straight out of Blender. Shield that says stop.
Who's there? What's going on there?
I'll take that damn apple too. Alright. We got all this shit now. Put it away. Wee. The heavy shield weighs less. And it got a cooler design. Alright, well, we've done that. Now we just gotta beat some. Soup, too. And we'll fast travel over to Rate. Hopefully that fixes the audio.
Yeah.
Those arrows almost one-shot both those guys. That's crazy. Imagine if I wasn't using hunting arrows. Is it blue this time? It was green before. No, I need to reassign. Okay, so green. CeeLo.
Yeah.
Hence.
Hey!
And go down.
Over here! Raise the alarm!
Raise the alarm! Watch out!
Alarm!
Over here! Where is everyone? Quick!
Alright, let's get that mace out.
Come here! The arm!
Give them a
Get over here!
oopsie toopsie. And Lo's probably less likely to miss.
Alan, Doppadella!
Still one bastard alive. The ram. The shield's like Jotaro's hat. The shield of Ura. Ain't got shit ass bandits. Cool if I could take this horse and sell it. I don't think you can. The other bandit ran far enough away that kind of abandoned.
What's going on?
Crash.
Who's there?
Eh.
Who are you?
Who are you?
Answer my prayer. Just when I.
Hey! Mangy cur. Like we're good. Yes, that was a job well done. You mount the horse first. I don't know if it like counts your horse as fast travel, or if you have to mount it first. But I feel like I should know. And this is a ride I'd like to take, but I'm hoping to fix the audio by doing this. Bernard, I return to you. Roughly a month later. I'm pretty sure you get perks for completing these two quest lines for him, actually. One's for, like, bandits and the other's for humans. And it's still a little quiet, damn it. I might have to restart the game whenever we get ourselves a save point. Alright, there's one in the town. We'll do it after we sell our shit. You try reloading, I might not even have to restart the whole thing, but save is the point.
I have some, trophies.
Let's see. Bastards deserved it.
I've taken care of the camp.
Where's the proof?
Here it is.
Oh. That is a nice... It looks like your work is done here at Ratai. I haven't heard of any other camps, so we may finally have some peace and calm.
Thank you, Captain.
But have no fear of idleness. I've sent word to Captain Robard. They're expecting you at Talmberg. There are Cuman hordes rampaging through their woods.
Very well, Captain. I'll set off immediately.
Glad to hear it.
Alright. Handsome I'm wearing. Noble. Better than the fashionable. Yeah. The pants are better. Fucking kidding me?
God be with
See you later.
And I got myself a bow. This one. You know, get the shield off my hands too, see if I care. And treasure maps do. Not that dog lord. Yuck.
Let's have a word about... Since it's you...
That's better.
Oh, clean
Aye,
6.
that would.
Alright. Okay, get rid of all that armor. And hopefully we can get our audio fixed. Rather frustrating. It feels like your ears won't pop. You know,
Vegetables,
everything's kind of
fruits,
muffled.
apples,
Yeast. Let it bake a
cucumbers,
bit,
onions.
you'll be able to
Come
feed
get
the
'em.
whole family with fresh bread.
I am honored.
Farewell.
Dyed Bavarian cream pie. Same deal. I'm gonna probably match my pants better, but you can't really see it as it is. Oh, that's slightly worse. Man, that's because it's in a bad condition though. Eh. Had it. Good. 2.1 thousand. Got ourselves enough to build the things for the bar. Gonna do that quest
Let's
first
talk about
though.
the price. Satisfied?
I'd almost...
Damn, I could have gone deeper.
Aye.
And we repair all the things ourselves. Get perks. Plus I got all these kits now. I freaking use them. Okay. Double this best boy, use the attack mule. Take ourselves a Napster. Unora! I should empty those books out actually. I know I read a few. Sorry, I know I like to hoard things. Never gonna use again. Herbs and spices. Good. Okay, now we save. Alright, and that did not fix anything, so we're gonna reload. Hopefully that will. If it doesn't, I have to restart the game. Come on. You suck.
Huh? I'm honored that an... Good luck then.
Yeah, I think so, bruv. Alright, we're gonna reload the game. Love you, GOG. Alright, 35 minutes. I need to pick something to talk about now. What's on our list? These are all the long conversations. We'll start with the most recent one, though, as I finished it like literally minutes ago before we started our stream. Evil West. This was a smaller thing that I only found out like a month or so ago before it released. we'll call it an icing on top of our God of War Ragnarok cake. Like, it's another game similar to that. Wasn't expecting it, but I did enjoy it. And, you know, that like God of War was the last thing I was looking forward to for the year. So I'm glad that was good. But we got this to play afterwards. It's kind of short. That's like everybody's main complaint with it, I suppose. They say it takes them 10, 12 hours. Actually, see how long it took me. It won't be 1-to-1. 18, because I played on Expert, which as you see very few people did. The game is actually pretty hard on hard, and there is one more difficulty, which I intend to play through. Yeah, I died quite a few times, bosses specifically, but every encounter had its own challenges. Replayed like 2 missions partway through to re-grab collectibles. So, you know, I got my value out of it. It definitely took me longer, and I do intend to keep playing it still, so that's good. But, you know, just saying your mileage may vary. If you don't die at all, then yeah, maybe it does take 10 hours. But, you know, if you pick one of the harder difficulties or you're bad at the game, you might be looking at a little more. You know, there's like collectibles in all levels too, and by the end of the game, I didn't have enough resources to buy all the upgrades, and like I can still level up some, which there is a new game plus, so like I have that to do in addition to bumping up the difficulty. Like there is replay value if you're someone who likes to replay games, or if you just happen to really like this one. So yeah, I don't think the length is a particular problem. And you know what? Even people who are disappointed by the length will say that it doesn't overstay its welcome because it doesn't have a ton of enemy variety. Which is, you know, another complaint, but you know, considering the length, it ends up not being such a bad thing. And you know, there are enemies. Like, for at least halfway through the game, you're introducing new enemies every mission. Sometimes they introduce multiple new enemies. Sometimes they're like, you know, reskinned guys with slightly different move sets, more health or whatever. But you know, they just, each enemy has a purpose. They're not just filler. They're not straight reskins most of the time. Each one behaves different. They all add new steps to the combat dance that you're doing. And, you know, they mix up the patterns in different varieties to keep things interesting. You're not just fighting the same encounter in a different room. It's always something a little different. And, you know, by the time you're at the end of the game, you'll be fighting like 3, 4 of what were at one point bosses. Because you've gotten that powerful, or your skills gotten that better, or I don't know. The upgrades all feel pretty minuscule for the most part, but like they add up. Especially when you get your hands on some of the like big million ones, like the health regen, or the one that makes health pickups drop when you shoot weak spots, which you're supposed to do to cancel like super attacks. You know, I don't mind the low enemy variety, and that there are still plenty of enemies, and they all feel unique.
Yeah.
It's not like Diablo, where they're all just different sprites for you to click on. It doesn't really matter beyond that. You guys are like, this is the one that flies. This is the big vampire guy who heals guys around him occasionally, so you gotta shoot him before he can do that. But he also has fat-ass attacks. This is the guy with the shield you gotta break. This is the guy who has spiders on his back that shoots out like slow-down web trails. This is the guy that spawns little tick bombs that come at you in a trail until you shoot them. They all got very unique behaviors, so that's a good thing, in my opinion. Now, as you can tell by the name, Evil West, you got yourself spooky vampires and shit, and Wild West. I'd say the game definitely leans in more to the evil side of things, though. It's mostly spooky, occasionally Western, and you know that's not necessarily a bad thing. You still have your protagonist being a walker-ass Texas Ranger, but then you know you got like cool-ass environments like glowy green swamps, and you know spider nests and shit. I don't want to spoil all of them. There are some cool places. But then, you know, occasionally you do end up in a saloon or like an abandoned western town, and that's fine too. It definitely has its own identity. And you know, it's a cool one. We're gonna talk to the man to start this quest.
Hey, mate.
Hey, mate! What? Are you talking to me?
What's happening?
Like I
Bringing
said,
it.
maybe you might help me out.
It wouldn't by any chance have to do with the ring I got for your brother.
Ha! How did you guess?
Put it down to my amazing powers of deduction?
So, are you gonna get it for me? It won't be easy, mind. Jan thinks I might try to steal it. The mistrustful bastard.
You are trying to steal it.
Alright. Why the hell not?
Great. Best thing is just to pinch it. He watches me like a hawk. But you...
What's
Shit!
going on?
Hey, a pickpocket!
What?
I want that ring back.
That's a good one. The ring back.
No, I'm serious.
Good for you, but you're not getting it.
Come on. How about fighting for it, eh?
Not in the mood for it, sorry. Besides, I'm looking forward to drinking away every groschen Kuno has, and more.
You ain't no booze, you son bitch.
That's about all you're good for.
What are you trying to say?
You're a drunken good-for-nothing. Just like your brother. And clearly not very smart since I have to explain it to you.
Don't you insult my brother, you piece of shit.
Or what?
I'll give
Hilarious.
you what for?
Oh, I thought you weren't in the mood for fighting.
You just put me in the mood.
You'll get what for.
Whoa, whoa! Hold on, what? What the? Just because I just stole, I should have waited a second? Can't kill these guys, they're quest people. Okay, so... What was I saying? Full setting. Yeah, so they're not vampires necessarily, they're called ticks. And they definitely have vampire type ticks called sanguisuges, which I guess would just mean bloodsucker or something. But, you know, these things manifest in all kinds of different forms. They're like boily monsters, they're giant things, they're leeches, they're werewolf kind of things. And I guess that it's all defined by like a parasite that makes you drink blood or whatever. And a normal sanguisuge is like, I don't know, theirs comes from blood or something. Like, you know, they're more human. They're more in control of it, while everyone else is like a literal monster. You know, normal vampire hierarchy stuff. But, I just appreciate that they use the term vampire very rarely. But they're not pretentious about it. Like, something like The Walking Dead. It's set in present day, but they refuse to acknowledge the term zombie exists. Oh, they're walkers. What the fuck are those things?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to say zombie. And, you know, as Shaun of the Dead made a joke out of it, or like, oh, I don't want to believe that's real. We don't see the Zedwood. But, you know, at least they acknowledged it. Anyways, they're good about it here, I feel. So, that's cool. So cool.
Tell me something. What?
Oh.
What's happening? Put it.
I wouldn't do my boy like that. I just want the ring. Where's the brother man? I think it's the red one. Yeah, Peter.
I got the ring.
Brilliant. Jan will have a fit. Here, have this for your trouble. You've earned it.
You got 150 groschen, you could have bought alcohol with that. I mean, you're probably only gonna drink that much in beer before you lose it. It's Kuno. Keep talking.
I found Jakey, and I know what Hagen is planning.
Spit it out, then.
Zoul plans to raid Samapesh, and he wants to lead the attack himself.
I see. And what about that treacherous little bastard?
I took him to the Ratai jailhouse.
What will happen to him?
That's up to Sir Radzig. Considering what he did, he'll be lucky to get out of it alive.
I'm not so sure. Radzig always had a soft heart. He got me off the gallows after all. Saddle up now. We'll ride to Samapesh right away.
All right.
There's gonna be a cutscene, so I haven't started talking yet. Just gotta wait for it to load.
There they are. I can see Zoul's colours. It seems they want a parlay, sir.
Parlay, eh? Right then.
Let's parlay.
God be with you, Sir Kuno.
My respects, Sir Hagen.
I don't believe I've had the pleasure since the siege of Lansenbach, wasn't it?
An age ago that was. In those days, we fought under the same banner.
We did. And even today, we may yet part friends. After all, my quarrel is not with you, but with Cobula.
The thing is, your quarrel with Lord Cobula is my affair, since he tasked me with keeping order in his lands. And you, Hagen, you were disturbing that order.
No offense, sir, but you are just a mercenary whose main concern is keeping order in his purse. My dispute with Radzig Cobula concerns a higher ideal. Cobula shamed my family over a trifling misdemeanor. He hanged my father, razed our castle to the ground,
your freaking
gave our
tower to
property
unload.
away to his family and cronies. And for that, I demand just retribution. But you don't have to stand in my way, Kuno. I'm well aware why you serve Radzig. You owe him a favor. And from what I've heard, it's not the first time you've had to pay him back. It won't be the last either. The fact of the matter is, you fight Cobula's battles for him, and you've little or nothing to show for it. If you accept my offer, on the other hand, you can ride away from here a rich man.
Supposed to count all that from here?
What do you say, sir?
I get to talk this man down. I'd appreciate that, actually.
Kuno, you can't do it.
You're making a common mistake, Henry. There's a difference between what a man can't do and what he ought not to do. In this case, the difference is the size of Hagen's offer.
What? What? I ain't gonna pay him. What about your honor?
Have you no honor at all? To sell yourself to the highest bidder?
The only bidder. Radzig never offered me a groschen.
Because you owe him a favor.
And this is the third time I've had to pay him back. My conscience is clean.
Tell me, Kuno, what do you think makes a good mercenary?
If I knew that, I'd have a marble palace in Florence. I'd sit all day on a golden throne, drinking wine. But I suppose for a start, he should be skilled in warfare.
Oh, that's how you see it. But what about those who enlist your service? What they value is loyalty and fulfilling your duty. A mercenary who turns after coin like a vane after the wind isn't worth his salt.
An eloquent speech, but like I said, I've paid Radzig back quite enough. So if you don't mind, I'll take that pile of coin and fuck off.
And then what? Do you think anyone will ever hire you again after they hear of this?
With that much money, I won't have to worry about that for a while. Anyway, everyone will understand how things really stand.
Do you really think Sir Radzig and others like him will share your interpretation of mercenary's honor? Not a chance. Everyone will see you for the swindler and turncoat you are, and Sir Radzig and I will make damn sure you won't come out of this smelling of roses.
Are you threatening me?
Hey.
What you like.
Fine. It seems you have learned something after all.
You'll stay then?
Obviously.
Well, it didn't seem so obvious to me.
Come on now, Henry. Don't take offense. And let's go and deal with Hagen.
Yeah, okay. Wonder what would happen if I failed. I fight all of them alone. You just go away and I fight one group alone.
It's true.
Doesn't sound fun either way.
This is not the first time I've paid Radzig back. Nor will it be the last. But then, he did save my neck from the noose. So I'll be long beholden to him. I'll make no bargain with you. But I will take your silver.
You would fight me? You're a damned fool.
I've no wish to fight, but neither do you. Otherwise you wouldn't have tried to buy me off. So it seems that we're evenly matched. Let's see who fortune favors.
So be it.
Why does this man just never load? Uno's always loaded. Okay, I need my mace. Okay, so gameplay nevertheless is like you've got yourself a big punchy glove, and that's your primary attack. You fight with the right bumper, and on your right trigger you got yourself your revolver. Just little quick attacks keep your combo going. There's no hit counter, but it's a combo nonetheless. You know, you just fan them in between attacks, or if you happen to do a launching attack, you can use it to keep guys juggled in the air for a bit. It has like a rapid fire mode if you just hold it, or you can fire individually, which does a little more damage, but it does wear out your fingers rather quickly. And you get new things like every mission, basically. Almost every mission. Sometimes you'll get one in between if you've got it like kind of late in a mission to play with it a little longer. Or you'll just find an upgrade for something that you already have. Like, it keeps the things flowing at a steady pace, but the main one thing you get would be the Zapper, a little shocky glove that enables like your Spartan Rage mode thing and your slam attacks, as well as like grappling enemies from a distance or zipping to them. And you know, just electrically stunning guys. Yes, I switched to my sword. You know, there's just a lot of stuff that comes from the Zapper. There's a whole second skill tree that opens up once you buy it. Stuff related to electric stuff. And then, you know, experience, you get that sometimes. It rolls out at a pretty erratic pace. Like, you'll usually level up after a boss, but, like, you get, like, a trickle from enemies. And, you know, it just happens sometimes really close to the previous time, or sometimes really far from the last time. And you'll occasionally get a perk point from opening a treasure chest, too, but those are rare. Damn. So your skill tree has stuff like passive upgrades like the health regen I mentioned, or getting health drops from when you shoot weak spots, but it has other things too, like extending your combo or adding entirely new special moves you can do. Like I said, you can grapple guys to you with the Zapper. You can make it so after you can grapple a group of enemies instead of just one, or when you launch a guy into the air, you can use the grapple command to pull him down and do an AoE slam with the body. So, you know, there's like a lot of variety in terms of these things. You can also open a chest and occasionally find a hidden perk, which opens up some of the more interesting stuff, like being able to shoot pickups for AoE damage. Or something like, all pickups become one of the specific types, either health or energy, rather than both being available.
Take that.
And they're all locked behind, like, level gates, so you don't get overwhelmed with choices right away. Kind of eases you into making sure you have some of the essentials first. But it does open up rather quickly. Can't loot these boys because they have unique outfits, I guess. We'll take their Russian, though. Um, sometimes an enemy will do an attack where their whole body glows, and you can push in the right stick to do a little bitch kick, and that'll interrupt them, usually drop a health pickup or something. You can interrupt some other basic attacks too. When they first introduced the mechanic, it's against one enemy, you can just constantly interrupt. It's kind of hilarious, but once they introduce more enemies into the game, it becomes more difficult to just focus on one guy like that, so it's not an issue. And there are also unblockable attacks. You have the dodge roll, and you know, double tap to do a longer thing, just like God of War. Over the shoulder camera, just like God of War. Like it seems very similar, but you know, it plays incredibly different because you get all these guns and stuff. Right, the weak spots. Occasionally an enemy will do like a big telegraphed attack. You have to do a quick snapshot, shoot them in a specific place, and they'll interrupt the attack. Usually drop something once you get that perk. It's pretty important to do that. It also does big damage. But like, you get this stuff all happening from like multiple enemies, you know? So you got multiple snapshots you gotta be taking while also dodging and punching and doing area control. And, you know, things get a little complicated. Hello? What happened to Kuno? I thought I won the battle. Damn it. I want that. I would have been fighting if I knew there were peoples there. Okay. So we talked about the enemy variety. Again, they just introduce them and they mix them up in fun ways. When you're not in combat, you like look around, solve micro puzzles, shoot stuff, like chains and stuff to climb. You do a lot of climbing. You open up chests, shoot explosive barrels and such. And that'll usually get you money. Occasionally you'll find a perk or something. You also find lore entries, which are voice acted. They're read to you, which is a nice addition. You can use that money though to upgrade your weapons. Sometimes for the more extensive upgrades, like the electrical versions of them, you have to find the blueprints in missions. But every weapon has some upgrades that are usually just locked behind levels, just like perks. And some of them can be game changers, like the shotgun already interrupts guys when they attack, but you can get one upgrade that'll make it so if you do it while an enemy's attacking, they'll take double damage from it. So, you know, it like repurposes the shotgun to be exclusively for that when you do it. And then, you know, you get the crazy electric upgrade for it, and now the shotgun also shoots out like little Tesla tendrils that persist past the blast and keep zapping guys while they travel. Pretty cool. And yeah, I'm not gonna spoil all the weapons. The shotgun's one you get pretty early, but you get a nice kit, one for each button. I forgot to mention you have like a heal thing that charges up when you hit guys. So you know, that's cool. It spaces things out. You have a few resources to manage aside from just your mana and health. Cooldowns. I surrender, bruv.
Gonna enjoy this.
Must have hit someone. Oh, I forgot another mechanic. So when you launch a guy into the air, if you hold the button and a direction, you can like cannonball launch a guy into a direction. So kind of like in Bulletstorm, they'll have environmental hazards around the play arena. You like launch a guy into a little spike wall, or you can launch him into a pile of dynamite and make an explosion. Damage other enemies around him. Pretty cool. Gonna kill me, that's fine. And, you know, there are upgrades in the perk tree for, like, basically every action you can take. So, like, you can make it so when the guy lands on the ground, they'll do a little AoE explosion even if they don't hit anything. Or you can make it so the explosive barrels have bigger explosions. Lots of good stuff. I felt pretty satisfied with almost every upgrade I got. There were some things I just didn't care for, but that's because it's like a mechanic that I probably should have been using but don't. Or, you know, I ignore it until I get the perk and then it's like, oh, this is actually a lot better than it was before. I'd say they're all good. And you also have the option to respec in between missions for free, so that's good. As you play with some other builds. Like I said, you didn't have enough experience to unlock all the things by the end of a single playthrough, so, you know, if you are just gonna play once, then I would say there is some character building, I suppose. You know, it's possible to get all of them eventually. This is a fucking mess. Homie flew. I think I fucked up again. I'm pretty sure this is the boys attacking me. These guys all look faceless, actually. I think everyone got massacred. Still not ideal.
I'll have you. I'll have you.
Right, so, you know, obviously the combat's real fun, but it can be exhausting with how much you, like, spam the trigger for shooting.
Yeah!
The gadgets and stuff you get were all cool. Especially when you upgrade them to their electric versions, they have more identity than just, it's a shotgun. Everything in the perk tree felt meaningful, those were all good. Solid moveset eventually fills out your whole controller. Lots of stuff to manage. The dance gets more complicated as you play. Everybody, are we good? I think they lost a single man.
Well, that's that. What now?
I don't know about you, but I'll have to do some recruiting.
I'm sorry about your men.
Can't be helped, lad. They knew what they were getting into. That's a mercenary's lot.
No, I know, but you seemed like good companions.
Aye, but a company like that doesn't last forever. I've buried enough men, let me tell you. You should go and report to Sir Radzig that we won the day.
Aye, I suppose I should.
If there's anything else you want from us, we'll be at the encampment in a few more days. And then, God willing, we'll move on. Well, if I don't happen to see you again, good luck.
All right. Now we get the loot and talking piece. So on the terms of like the micro puzzles, they're just that micro puzzles. It's like everything's highlighted, everything's got like a little rim lighting glow to it. Like the chains are all very glowy. You see a chain, that means that there's something you can do over there, whether it's climbing or jumping off a ledge, or there's something you gotta shoot down to climb. If there's something you gotta shoot down, it'll have a little marker on it with a crosshair. It's all very obvious what you're supposed to do. Very little thinking, but it makes for interesting movement anyways. You're not just holding forward, but like you might as well just be holding forward. I guess you'd say it's a little more involved than Uncharted, but like it's not big brain puzzles. Not that I was expecting big brain puzzles, but this is like a new low in terms of action game puzzles, you know. And occasionally buggy. I feel like I rarely encounter bugs in games. Or when I do, they're so minuscule that they're not even worth mentioning. But in this case, I encountered a handful of them. The game only had one patch since it came out, but they're working on them, I suppose. Give them a chance. It's been out too long. Anyways, there was one mission where you're in like a Mayan temple kind of place, and I would occasionally get hit by an enemy like into the ground, like my knees are clipping through the floor and I'm unable to move. That happened like mid-boss fight, so I'd have to keep dying or reloading during that. It just sucked. And when you open a chest, if you happen to pause the game before the opening animation is finished, maybe because you got a new perk or something, and it prompted you to open the menu to look at what it is, you will usually get stuck in place, unable to move until you reload the game. And that's all I can really think of. It wasn't too bad, but like those happened often enough and it was a little annoying. Graphically, the game looks fine. I heard the term looks like an Xbox 360 game thrown around a lot, and I disagree. Alright, that's a little too harsh. It looks like early next gen. Not next gen, you know, PS4, Xbox One. It's better than a 360 game for certain. But, you know, the textures are a mixed bag. It's a budget game. Now, which is honestly a little surprising considering that the developers made Shadow Warrior. But Shadow Warrior 2 is actually rather impressive for when it came out. Just sell all this crap. Alright, I'm gonna dump some of this onto the horse so the game can calculate that I'm able to carry this much. If I can. $626.10. Current cuirass. Slightly better. And you know what? It's got the pimp belt on it because it's like designed to look like chainmail with the thing over it. We're doubling up. I will wear this. Hell yeah, now we're stud-like. If that's enough. Yeah, boy. Two poor men fell. Shame that.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was I talking about? Micro puzzle baby dick, something like that. It was fun, I guess. It just, you know, I was hoping for a little more in terms of the puzzles, and like whenever you go into a combat situation, it's like, you know, a big open room. There's not too much variety with terrain. You're not jumping over ledges mid-combat. It's a little lame, considering how, you know, dynamic the environments in God of War were. For comparison, it's the easiest comparison since I played it just beforehand. Still, not a bad thing. You know, it's very common trapping of the genre, really. Devil May Cry has a lot of areas like that. They just throw up a wall, trap you in a flat zone. Though 5 was also very dynamic with its environments, but every game leading up to that, not so much. 4 was pretty good about it too, because you had the grapple hook thing. But whatever, everybody loves 3, that one did it. Shut up. That's it. Oh, I forgot about skins. You can get skins in the chest. Cause I got the pre-order. I pre-ordered on Green Man Gaming, by the way. So I paid $40. The game cost $50. And I don't know. I'm thinking if the length is maybe a concern for you, I would get it at $30. I think that would be a fair price, but I'm happy with paying $40 for it. Anyways, it gave me like the gold set for free, gold scales, and you know, it looks pretty pimpin' on most of the stuff. The guns specifically, but you get like a white ghosty pattern from the chest, and I don't know if the gold is available as a reward without pre-ordering, and it just gave you money in its place, or if that's a pre-order exclusive. But I think it would be a little silly for there to only be one skin set available. I'm assuming they just gave it to me for freezies.
Yeah.
Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go on a surprising amount of things. You know, you got your hat, your scarf, your coat, and then all your guns, and like both your gloves. I wasn't expecting the gloves to be customizable specifically, but it was pretty cool. So the story was okay, and you know, you got Billy Badass doing Billy Badass shit. But, like, you have partners for some of these missions, and they just, like, teleport around. They don't help in the fight at all. They don't really appear anywhere, which is a little disappointing. Like, the last mission specifically, you roll up to the building with, like, a whole squad of, like, 5 people. You're all armed, and then it's just you fighting alone the whole time.
Yeah.
When you're in, like, a town hub area, which most missions start in one, the NPCs don't move their lips, which is really weird. They do in cutscenes, and sometimes even in-game, if it's, like, an important character, but, like, and you'll see people talking without moving their lips, and it's just strange. I did say that you fight bosses as normal enemies, like, kind of frequently as the game goes on, but there are a handful of bosses that you only fight once. Like, it does have unique enemies anyways. It just happens to introduce some of the tougher enemies as bosses, I suppose you'd say. But I'd say there's at least, like, 4 unique bosses that you'll never fight again. Out of, like, what, 16 missions? I'd say that's a pretty good amount. Like a solid 25%. Or, no, there's 5, I think. Give them more credit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time playing it. Was it exhaustive? A little. A little. Is that a negative? Potentially, but, you know, I feel like I need to strengthen my gaming abilities a little more. Difficulty? Actually good, alright? I picked hard, I got a hard experience. And there's a harder one that I am willing to try now that I have some perks to go through New Game Plus. Which, you know, normally you pick hard and it's like, this is just like the intended difficulty that feels normal to me. But we did good this time.
The poor wretch. Sigismund and his murderers took everything I had.
So what do we rate it? Like an 8, maybe.
Baked goods fresh from the oven.
I mean, because of the bugs, I'll take a point off, but I'm assuming those will be fixed in the near future, so, like, once it's bug-free, which, you know, I only encountered a handful, and while they were, like, soft-locky, I think that they'll be easy enough to correct in the future. I'm confident that they will be fixed within a month or so. Then it will be an 8, but for now we'll say 7 because bugs. But I had a great time playing it. It had a unique setting, unique move set. The progression felt very satisfying. Story could have been better, but, you know, it's usually not a strong suit in these games.
Good God.
And, you know, again, I wish the puzzles were more complicated, but I guess the combat difficulty made up for that in its own way. And again, it's not like a strong suit in these games either, so I wasn't expecting anything too crazy. You know what? I need to get the horses equipment. Okay. But yeah, pretty good. And you know, it even took me a bit longer than I thought it was going to, so that I'd say that's a plus from my end. And again, I do intend to replay it, like, ASAP. I want to get my character maxed out. I want to get all the achievements assuming I can. I haven't really looked at them yet. Or I did briefly, and then I backed out because if you're an achievement hunter, this is gonna piss you off. They are spoilery. They don't have locked achievements, like hidden stuff. So with one boss in particular, it's gonna like spoil a plot point if you cared. But you know, I gotta see what's left in that. What pants am I wearing? They're the riveted decorated one. Oh, I got the Aiken ones, the Clay Aikens. Ones were on American Idol. Dual arm plate, wow. I wonder if these are any good. I should compare. I'm gonna keep this in case I decide I want to fly my own colors again. Also looks kind of bad, but 20? 2028? 32310. Alright, these are better. And the leg plate, these are take my boots. Probably not worth the charisma loss. Ones. Yeah. That's not gonna be worth it. It probably adds up to about the same because these are just shoes. No, these are even better combined. So I'll take the arms, but not legs.
Can we do something? Satisfied?
I'd almost...
Cože je to za dědina nedaleko Hodonína?
All right, so.
Je tam studenka kamenná a v ní vodenka...
Okay, let's put on those arms. Those Zoul. Whoa, look how bright they are. That's like what the chains look like in Evil West. They're like always shining like this. Very standoutish, like they're covered in fucking Vaseline. It would be like different if it was like a radial shine, like it, you know, it pulsed, but it doesn't. They're just always shiny. Or maybe if you held a bun and that made them shine, that would be better. Outer garment? What the hell? Oh, right, that. And I'm not wearing that anymore. Unless I wanted to. I could take my charisma down. Put my own colors over it, yeah.
Flower, egg.
Nah. Taking it off because we lose our pimp belt. I like the lighter look of this. Pimp helmet. I got some weapons to sell too, right? Mobile sword. Short sword. actually really good. Like, it'd be a bad idea to just use this over the sword, because look how balanced it is. Like, overall, you know how often I like to stab, like, this is a pretty big upgrade. It does even more blunt damage somehow, holy shit. Keeping that.
I'm honored that an...
God be with you.
I picked up a hammer. I could totally sell this, but it's unique, so I'm gonna keep it anyway. I know I already have one.
I'd like to just...
Well,
Agree?
that sounds... All right, sir.
Alright. No, I should wait till I talk to Radzig first, actually, and then we'll be riding back up to, Pribyslavitz. Talk about the next thing then. I think we'll talk about God of War, just because, you know, we were comparing the two so much, I gotta go right into that, right? Be best for the flow.
What's going on there?
I got this bow. Oh well. Weighs 3 pounds, it don't matter too much. I should repair all my shit. Eesh. Cool, cool. Radzig here, is that a different quest? Forgot about that, I should do that. Heading up that way anyway. So where is Sir Radzig? He's gotta be around here, right? Not. He's always around here.
God be with you, Henry.
Yep, there he is.
God bless you. What?
Sir, we got rid of Zoul.
Finally, some good news. Tell me all about it.
We caught up with Hagen in the fields near Merhoyed, and there was a skirmish. It was a tough fight, but in the end, we were victorious. Hagen fell.
Good. That's good news, Henry. Any losses on our side? Kuno's men? How did they fare?
Some of Kuno's men fell, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that. Such is a mercenary's life. May they rest in peace. Anyway...
That shit is too messy to save any of them.
And thank you, Henry. Once again, I'm beholden to you. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Ah, thank you, sir. but I'm sure you'd have managed without me.
Don't be so modest, lad. Since that catastrophe at Skalitz, I don't have many people left that I can rely on. Best go and rest now.
Thank you, sir.
See you later.
I'm
Him
glad
has
you're
a
here.
quest for me, actually.
What's happening, sir?
Uncle Sahanush sent for me. No doubt he wants to give me another ear bashing about the error of my ways. And he said to bring you too.
Oh, right. This is about the bathhouse incident.
Oh, Sakra. That doesn't sound good.
Indeed. I wonder what he wants to lecture me about this time. And you, because you're going with me.
All right, we should get going then, shouldn't we, Sir Hans? The sooner we get it over and done with, the better.
I suppose so.
I bet I can get a scarf
I'll
or
put some of
something
my
that'll
old
make
clothes
me
in a
look
trunk
fresh.
for you. I don't want you making me look bad in front of Hanush. But I see it wasn't necessary. You look as smart as any courtier.
Thanks. I'll try my best.
So I see. But you can come and get those clothes later anyway. They're a little worn, but they're as fine as anything you'll get in the county.
Alright, thank you, Hans. New drip.
Well, my ward and his, what shall we say, chaperone.
Uncle.
My lord?
I hope we haven't dragged you away from anything too important.
Champion, not
at all.
chaperone.
We were
Like
just...
boozing and whoring, for instance.
Uncle, I can...
Perhaps you were busy, causing mayhem in the middle of the night and beating up my subjects.
No, it wasn't... Henry and I were just...
Henry's as big a fool as you are. But he's not my ward, thank Christ. What the hell do the pair of you think you're doing? There are people in this
Acting like a pair.
who work from dawn to dusk to put food on their tables and on yours, may I remind you. And then they look at you, Hans, their lord and master, and see a drunken layabout. That fellow you beat up last night was a guard, a new guard on the town watch. And he couldn't report for duty this morning because of his injuries. I had the bailiff here complaining, and could I tell him what I really think about this whole sorry affair? Of course not. That would demean me. And you too. So I had to sit gaping like a stuffed owl and listen to his grievances. Maybe you think because you're the lord here you can get away with anything. But you're sadly mistaken, you blockhead. A lord remains a lord only as long as he commands the loyalty of his subjects. And I'm sure I don't have to tell you the folk here are not exactly enchanted at the prospect of having you in charge. That was the last straw, Capon. One more of your escapades and I'll send you to your mother in Polnar. For all I care, she can dress you up like a wench and marry you off to some Hungarian.
Uncle, that arson Archibald tried to murder me. What was I to do?
Oh, don't exaggerate. Well, I'm hardly surprised after you molested his girl and humiliated him.
I was only...
Oh,
I'm
don't whine, for heaven's
sorry.
sake. It's about time you started taking some responsibility. I have a job for you. Maybe that will keep you out of mischief. Sir Milota of Oleshna has turned up here. Do you know him?
Isn't he Sir Bernard's cousin?
He is. He came here with the remnants of his retinue to seek refuge. He's seriously wounded.
What happened to him, sir?
His fortress Oleshna was attacked by one Wulfrin of Camburg. Milota pursued him almost as far as Neuhof and engaged with him. Unfortunately, the skirmish didn't end well for Milota.
Wulflin of Camburg. That name is familiar.
He's kin to the Oleshna
Sounds kind of
lords,
badass.
cousin of Bernard.
Better have a fat beard.
Their family affairs are a little complicated. None of my business, of course. I just wish they'd found somewhere else to thrash out their differences.
Played by Hugh Jackman.
Go and see Bernard in the courtyard. He got a report that Wolfland pillaged some other farms around Neuhof, and he's putting a squad together to ride against him. Mind your step, though. It's a family affair. After all, maybe more to it than meets the eye. The important thing is to get that damn scavenger out of the domain. If possible, without bloodshed. I can't afford to lose any men over this business. Have I made myself clear?
Yes, sir. Very well, Uncle.
Get to work, then.
Yeah, I have a feeling this is gonna be one of those rides where they keep talking. I'm gonna have to stay silent.
Has anyone seen my
Hey,
belt?
Henry's come to see
I can't
us.
find it anywhere.
Yeah, he has. High five.
If you didn't booze so much, maybe you wouldn't keep losing your things.
Knuckle touch.
Has anyone seen my belt? Can't find it anywhere.
Great when you walk by an assembled army and they all say it at the same time. I say. Bernard's over here.
Fucking bandits. I'd
Is
much
this
rather
the
do
squad?
battle with other nobles.
Why? Bandits.
There you go.
Sir Hanish sent me, Captain. I'm to join your mission. And Sir Hans, too.
And mount up, youngster, and we'll move out.
Can I ask... What's young Lord Capon like?
He'll be the governor here in a few years. Sir Hanush is just his guardian until he comes of age. The young lord spends most of his time making merry. But he'll grow out of it. He's no fool.
What's life like in Rattay?
I don't know that.
Till Sigismund came and then you folk, it was a fine, peaceful life here.
Wow, that's not a massive insult.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to know.
Lord Capon, when we get there, I'd like you to hold back.
You can forget about that, Bernard. I'm not going on an outing. Hanush sent me to handle this matter, and handle it I will.
I think you can handle this peacefully, actually. It's probably why they handed you the nice clothes.
I know what you meant, Captain. Forget it.
Very well, Your Grace.
Listen, Bernard. About this robber. I heard some rumors.
About his being a relative of mine in Melodas?
Something like that.
We have the same great-grandfather, Urban, Baron of Oleshna. Wolfen belongs to a distant branch of my family, which, well, let's just say they bring no honor to our name.
But I heard Wolfen of Camberg was hanged somewhere in Silesia after plundering the bishop's estates.
I heard the same, only, well, I'm sure you've heard what they say about the Camberg branch of my family.
That they're cursed?
Yeah.
Now, Bernard, don't think I'm a little old for fairy tales.
Think what you like, but I heard it from my grandfather, and he never paid attention to old wives' tales.
I meant no offense, Captain. Well, tell me all about it, then. After all, there's no smoke without fire, and I never heard about the Camberg clan from a member of the family.
Very well. At home, we always spoke in whispers about our Camberg relatives. When Wolfen's father, Wilhelm, came to visit, I'm almost ashamed to say it.
You can rely on my discretion, Captain. Carry on.
Well, the servants were so afraid of him that they went and hid in the barn. Father had them whipped. Even then, they wouldn't go near Wilhelm. They were afraid he cursed them, and I couldn't blame them.
Why's that?
Wilhelm's face was so badly disfigured, folk would cross themselves when they saw him. I was afraid of him myself as a boy.
Was he wounded in war?
No, he was born that way. You see, his mother, Countess Barbara of Hogwitz, didn't want to marry Wilhelm's father, my grandfather's brother. But she never wanted to bear his children. So, when she fell pregnant, they say she went to a witch to get rid of the child. Only she ended up having quintuplets. Can you imagine it? 5 babes born in one night?
Jesus Christ!
Can't imagine 5 babes in one show.
Only the 5th survived. And he was disfigured.
One douchebag nerd boy.
They say the witch cheated her, and instead of getting rid of the child, she put the devil's seed inside her.
Good Lord, how dreadful!
Well, Wilhelm carried that with him his whole life. When his own wife was in childbed, he had 7 friars kneeling in his chamber day and night. Didn't stop the rumors, though. When his son, Wolfen, was born, he looked normal enough, but he turned out to be as wild as a stray tomcat.
It seems he hasn't grown out of it.
You're right about that. A few years ago, Wolfen went off to Poland, and Wilhelm got worse and worse. He cursed everything and everyone in his path, started throwing crockery at the servants. He was on his deathbed. They sent for a priest, not just to give him the last rites, but because they were afraid the devil would come out of him and possess someone else. Then later, Wolfen turned up, even though he was supposed to be dead for years. There were folk who said he was dead. That wouldn't stop the devil's spawn.
Sweet Jesus. It sounds a lot more convincing coming
Whoa!
from you than the stories
Slow
the
down.
nurses used to tell me. How are we
Vitus
supposed to
and
deal with
Cyril.
a monster like that?
I sent them to scout ahead.
Those bastards will pay for this.
They most certainly will. Let's go. We have to make camp. Hamlin, we'll take 2 men and come back here later. I won't have Vitus and Cyril left as crow meat.
Yes, Captain.
Talking about the hanged man? I see one.
Yeah.
I haven't checked on my character in a while. There was something here that I didn't want. Dust it. In here, yeah. Alright, and see it. Run faster, that's pretty good. Blocking strikes will cost him more stamina. Only when you're using a shield. Kinda funny. Why is my defense stat so shit? Oh, you know, sprint more faster in combat is useful. Ow. Sounds kind of busted. Yeah, what am I doing on Mason? Catching up. You gotta be nearby, right? Yup.
God be with you.
What do we do now?
First, we have to find out where those Horsons are holed up. According to the reports, they raided a few farms around here. So someone should go to those places and find out what they can. You should do it, Henry. My men would probably just startle them.
All right, Captain. I'll do that. Where are the farms?
One is uphill from Neuhoff, right by the woods. One here above the woods by the crossroads, directly north from our camp. God be with you.
Yeah, I can do that. Okay, so God of War Ragnarok. Obviously the sequel to God of War 2016, 2018, I don't know. So normally God of War games like aren't too story intensive, you know. Kratos murdered his family in the first game. He's pretty pissed off about it, killed Ares who made him do it. He became the God of War and he didn't like that, and he like tried to kill all the gods in Greek mythology. And you know, there was like 5 games or so involved with that. 5, 6. There's 6 games in the Greek stuff. And, you know, those were all story heavy, right? You were just fighting stuff, combat was brutal, it was fun, whatever. And then he, like, retired from that, he got his revenge, he calmed down, and he had a kid. And that's when the Norse games start. And these ones are a lot more story intensive. In fact, the first game, you kill, like, 2 or 3 gods. Technically 2 are, like, demigods. And, like, you know, that's the big thing. You kill, like, a minor Norse god as, like, the finale of the game. And it's mostly just you neandering around trying to look for a path into Jotunheim, which has been sealed off for a very long time because Odin doesn't like the giants. So you can spread the wife's ashes. That's the whole point of the game. And, like, not much happens. You just go try to accomplish that goal, you accomplish that goal, and then you guys go home. But, like, it was all the little things you did were building up to, like, this big freaking conflict of Ragnarok, of course. And so, like, pacing-wise, this one is, like, fucking intense. So much happens, it feels like you gotta hold, like, 2 or even 3 more games worth of story based on the pacing you got from the other one. The game's even a little longer. I think it only took like 40 hours for this one. And I'd say you can do this in about like 50, 60. Though it took me around 80 because I got my ass beat by some of the super bosses for quite a long time. So, you know, me getting the platinum took 80. But, you know, just playing the game, it's still rather lengthy. You will be doing a lot of backtracking. And, you know, taking new paths in old areas. It's not backtracky. However, on the subject of backtracking, when you do it, enemies usually do not respawn, and that's kind of lame. Considering that you need to, like, grind out materials and experience points for certain things. And there's just not really a good place to do that. Or the experience isn't an issue, but the materials specifically, like, you won't be able to max out every piece of armor in the game without New Game Plus. It's not currently in. It was patched into the previous game eventually, but at the moment it is not there. So, like, combat-wise, it's more or less the same. They changed up the moveset, tweaked some things that maybe worked or didn't work, and, you know, the issues are still there, but they, you know, they made changes, and I respect it. For example, with the axe moveset, they had a move where, like, you could hold the light attack and you'd throw it and it'd do, like, rapid spinnies. And I would always use that because, you know, the rapid spinnies meant it had the highest proc chance for effects. And that move is just gone because everybody was doing that instead of light attacks. Because it was just more efficient. There was no reason to not do it. So they replaced it with something else. Like, you know, there's lots of stuff like that. Movesets just altered, refined. And while I like what they did with the axe, I feel like the blades were gutted some. And you get a new weapon too, a spear. I don't want to say too much more about that, but like, you know, it's got a moveset comparable to the blades, and like, you know, it's just not as much. It feels like they want you to use the axe primarily still. Though they all have their own uses. I did find myself using all of them eventually. Though the spear took a while to come online when you get it, because it just, you need to upgrade it before you unlock all the moves. I will doing some minor spoilers like that, by the way. Like, you're talking about a sequel to a game, I need to talk about the story a little. Like, the blades were a surprise weapon, but they're also a massive game mechanic, so like, same thing with the spear, like, you'll get it midway through the game. And I gotta talk about it.
I hope I can be of help.
Captain Bernard sent me. I'm here about the raid on your farm.
What? I've no idea what you're talking about, friend.
They raided your farm, didn't they?
No. I heard there was some raids hereabouts, but not here.
Something's not right. The captain sent me here to this very farm.
The captain must have made a mistake.
I suppose so.
See you later.
Bandit, aren't you?
Jesus Christ be praised. How?
Captain Bernard sent me. It's about that attack.
Well, they came, took everything they could, and rode off again. I don't know what else I can tell you.
We're trying to catch
Not what
up
your
with
husband
that,
told me.
So I need to hear every detail you can tell me.
What do you want to know?
How many of them were there?
2 or 3. I'm not sure. My head's still in a spin.
Which way did they go?
I don't know. I wasn't watching. My husband made me hide indoors, and I only saw them through the window.
So your husband was outside?
Yes, he tried to parley with them.
What did they take?
Not much. We haven't a pot to piss in, which I told them in no uncertain terms as soon as they came here.
So you're telling me they came here, you told them there was nothing worth taking, and they just rode off again, without further ado?
More or less.
But just a while ago, you told me you were indoors the whole time.
Yes. I was. Mostly.
So were you inside or outside? Did you talk to them or not?
Well, like I say, it was confusing. I don't remember.
Oh, shut up.
Let's get one or two things straight. I'm here under orders from Captain Bernard, and that robber baron who came here crippled his cousin and killed 2 of his men.
What's that got to do with me?
Just so you know, the captain is very keen to see justice done, and it would not be wise to obstruct him.
My God, what have I done to deserve this?
So, what really happened here?
First, promise me you'll get rid of them.
That's exactly what I'm here for.
They came a few days ago, took a pig and a sack of apples. We put up no resistance. I noticed one of them had an injured leg, so I offered to treat it for him.
That was very Christian of you, considering they came to rob you.
All I cared about was that they wouldn't kill us.
Go on. What happened then?
They rode off, and I prayed we'd seen the last of them. Only the same evening, they came back again. One of them had been wounded, and they wanted me to take a look at him. They gave me some coin and took me to their camp. And in the morning I came home again.
Begging your pardon, but are you soft in the head? If I hadn't coaxed it out of you, we might never have found them.
I know I should have told you, but I was afraid of them, and of you too.
I understand. They
I
threatened.
want to say lead me to camp, but I think they'll take me there alone.
You didn't have to. But if they get away from you, they'll come back and get revenge.
Don't worry. We'll take care of them. So you know where they're camped? I'd like you to lead me there.
I won't go to their camp, no. But I know of a place where you'll have a good view of it.
That'll do me.
God be with you. I'm not going any further. If they saw me, I'd be done for. The camp's not far away in this direction.
Thanks. And don't worry. I'll deal with those bastards.
I pray you do.
I think I see it. Right, so...
I better get back and report to Captain Bernard.
Each of the weapons has their own set of runic attacks, of course, so if you're going for, like, a magical build, you know, getting the third weapon helps with that, you get more options. The blades are, of course, good for AoE crowd control, and they have the fire element attached to them. The axe has the ice element. It's more single target defensive. You do, like, big chunky hits with it, but they're slow, so, like, it's... Basically, I use the blades when I'm aggressive, axe when I'm defensive, and sometimes specific enemies require a specific weapon. The spear, it took a while to figure out its place, but first off, it, like, duplicates itself, so you can throw it infinitely, unlike the axe, which you have to recall each time, so it's the better ranged option. And it also has, like, a force push. It has a wind element, so you can push guys off ledges if you're fighting normal enemies. Very useful. And its heavy attack, like, siphons the element from an enemy, so you can use it to apply status effects. Pretty good. And it, like, builds up a meter to activate its status, and it doesn't really have its own status. It does an exceptional amount more, stagger damage to build up the meter for executions. So if you happen to be, like, in a groove and you're not getting hit a lot, switch to that and you can, like, eat a lot more out of them. So usually I'll be using the axe, and then when that meter's full I'll switch over to it unless I want to freeze the guy first. And, you know, it had its uses, and then of course it had its 2 elemental attack things. Runic attacks. The runic attacks themselves you get out of chests, and then you have to level them up with experience. So, like, it takes a while for you to even find some. If you're not exploring, you might not ever find one. The heavies especially, there's very few of, and they're so rare that you'll be, like, you won't get one until pretty late in the game. I went for the more runic build, if you couldn't guess. I really focused on them. Gear is back, but they, like, condensed it a bit. You're not... Everything's upgradable. You don't buy new versions of the same thing that are, like, basic. They all have their own purposes. Like, the breastplate has an effect. And then the gloves and belt have a combined effect, usually relevant to the breastplate, but you can mix them as you please. I had like a 3 mixed set. That went for my own thing. So... You know, there's a lot of different things, and with that alone, there's, like, plenty of build variety, but also, when you use skills a certain amount, you unlock a little perk slot for it that you can use to enhance an aspect of it, like, maybe it builds up more meter, or it does more damage, or it does more of an element, whatever. There's a little bit of build with that, and then you have the amulet that you slot enchantments into, which have set bonuses or unique effects if they're on their own. as well as stat bonuses. So like you combine all that together, and there's like a lot more you can do with your character in this one, which is really cool. You can have more of a magic. You'd have more of a barehanded fight if you want. Like, I barely use the fist, but that's an option. It's totally an option. Very viable one. The hilts on the weapons, of course, change things too. I forgot about those. There's a couple different types of Spartan Rage now, rather than just the whoop-ass mode. There's one that does, like, big damage, which I didn't use too much of, because it didn't really seem to work on a lot of the bosses. And the one that I did end up using a lot was, like, a parry. If you timed it right, you would absorb damage and regenerate the attack's worth of damage. Otherwise, you just regenerate some health, and it can possibly save you from death. But you know, you get used to that, and it'll save your ass, like, up to 6 times per fight. And that was the main way I chose to get my health back, which opened up, you know, other parts of my equipment to stuff that doesn't focus on health gain. So, like, you know, build variety stuff, real cool. Some of the enchantments have stat requirements, so you might pick your equipment a specific way like I did to get access to a specific one. Or you'll just pick one that like jives with your playstyle based on what you already have. It's up to you, really. What am I following? I'm trying to get to this. So as far as the upgrading goes, I feel like the game's pretty stingy with materials. So with the low tier stuff, you'll be able to get everything up to like +6 out of 9 pretty easily, I feel. But then when you get to the high tier stuff, you really have to commit to a single set, because you're only going to be able to upgrade like 2 or 3 of them to max. If that. Some of them have more unique materials, like the dragon scale thing. Those come from killing bosses. You'll get that one done easily. But for the more generic pieces, you'll be kind of shit out of luck. Jesus, my throat. I need to drink something. Ah. And do some talking.
How are you?
I found that encampment.
Ah, I'm glad to hear it. Is it far?
Not really.
How many men did you see?
I did not count. I'll say 10.
Around 10.
The same as us. Well, now we'll see if my cousin is really as tough as they say. Otherwise, he'll be swinging tonight from the Rattay ramparts.
Wouldn't it be better to parley with them, sir?
Parley with robbers? You must be out of your mind, lad.
Won't cost anything. Promised.
I gave Sir Hanush my word I'd look out for his men, and I intend to keep it. So it's my duty to advise a parley.
You're going to advise me?
You're not seeing straight, Captain. No wonder, since Wolfland's your kin. Please, just grant me one thing. Let me go and parley. I'll find out more, and maybe we can settle everything without losing any men.
You want to parley? Listen, Henry, you can't rely on Wolfland to act honorably. There's every chance you won't come back.
Don't worry. I know it's a risky business, but have you got anyone better for the job?
No, I'm sorry to say I haven't. And Wolfland's a conceited bastard. If he knows you come from me, he'll receive you just for a chance to tell me to go to hell. I'll give you a livery with my coat of arms, so it's clear you're my messenger. And you'll have to go unarmed.
Thank you, Captain. I'll do my best.
I hope so. And try and come back in one piece. I don't want to explain to Sir Radzig why I sent his favorite into a robber baron's camp unarmed.
Whoa.
Good luck, then.
put on that armor. Those fish?
Good gracious, it's Henry, champion of the Rat-Eye Tourney.
That's me. By Azura, by Azura.
I convinced Captain Bernard to let me go and parley.
Are you mad, Henry? They'll send your head back in a bag.
They won't kill me. They'll know I'm Bernard's envoy. He gave me livery with the Eleshna coat of arms.
I don't think a gang of bandits will pay too much attention to livery. But if you want to be a hero, go right ahead.
See you later.
Well, shit. Okay, what was I saying? The stats. They're still a little weird, you know? Like, damage is damage. It feels obvious enough. You just gotta keep leveling so the enemies don't become too tanky. Defense always feels like it does nothing, but like, it's just like even scaling. Same with the damage. You always feel about the same until you go back to an older area. And you have cooldown, which is cooldown. It feels like it doesn't affect much, but I put points into it anyways because it's what I needed for a specific enchantment. The vitality is the weird one. It's supposed to give you more health, but I'm not exactly sure how much it does. Like, does it extend your bar? Does it make the bar worth more? There's no number as to how much health you actually have, so it's very difficult to tell what effect it's actually having. But I had pretty high vitality regardless, and there's luck, which is luck. You trust it or you don't, I don't know. No, I don't love the way that they're implemented. I feel like it should be more apparent what each thing's doing. And I guess they are pretty self-explanatory, but still. And runics too, I forgot about that one, but... Well, again, self-explanatory. It's just not obvious what effect they actually have. So I don't love those. And, you know, I wish I could have experimented more with the builds with how, like, big the variety was. But, like, again, they're very stingy with the upgrade materials, so you really do gotta lock into something. However, you will get trickled new equipment at a steady rate, and the new equipment is usually at, like, about where you should be, if not better than what you currently have. So, you know, you'll get a warrior piece, a mage piece, a whatever piece, periodically. And, like, the old ones are still viable. These will have completely different effects, but, like, if you're trying to go back to more of a runic-based build, you can totally do that. Or if you want to go back to a more tanky thing, you can do that. It gives you chances to switch it up if you want, but I wish I had, like, even more freedom than that. Hello?
Hey, you! What do you want?
I'm Captain Bernard's envoy. I'm here to parley.
Why should I trust you?
I'm unarmed. What harm can I do?
That's true. You are wearing Sir Bernard's colours. I suppose I should take you to Sir Wolflin. But if you try any tricks, you'll regret it. Understood?
You have my word.
Fucking weather, fucking tents, fucking camp. I've had enough of this shit.
Fucking weather, fucking tents, fucking camp. I've had enough of this shit.
Who do we have here? What's your name, boy?
Henry. I'm a messenger from...
I know. From my beloved cousin, Sir Bernard of Eleshna. So, what exactly is your message?
You can go believe everything.
Why do you want to hurt the lords of Eleshna?
That bastard Malota stole villages that belonged to my father. I was in Poland when my father died, and Malota convinced everyone I was dead too.
But you came back, though, didn't you?
Aye, I came back. But Mulata bribed a priest to testify that my father made him a deathbed confession. That bastard swore my father told him he was possessed, and so was his son. Me. So they think I rose from the dead and I'm a warlock. They won't hear my claim.
And they give you a right to be a douche.
That doesn't give you the right to go around plundering Sir Hanish's estates.
Well, I never claimed to be a saint. All in all, I'm as much of a bastard as Mulata is, but that doesn't mean I'll leave him in peace.
Well, you gonna pay me now?
We offer you safe conduct out of this domain if you leave everything you stole from Sir Hanish's subjects and pay 60 groschen in compensation.
That's a very generous offer. But tell me, why should I accept?
'Cause you're some bitch.
I gotta piss.
I feel like this is my better option.
Don't you know what's been going on around here recently?
Should I?
Bandits have been on the rampage all over the county. Cutthroats raided a nearby stud farm, and the locals have had enough of it.
No doubt, but I've nothing to do with that.
Try telling them that. On the way here, the captain recruited men from half the county. He intends to make an example of you.
Why me? No doubt you've plenty to choose from.
Because you're the first one who's had the gall not to run. So you'll be the first one they catch, and I'm sure you can imagine what'll happen then.
And why warn me? Why parley at all, if there are so many of you?
So Hannes wants to avoid unnecessary bloodshed. He'd be happier if you just moved on somewhere else, so he sent me to bargain with you.
You're saying it wasn't Bernard's idea?
If the captain knew I came here in his colours, he'd flay me alive.
The devil take it. There's nothing here worth pillaging anyway. All right. I accept your offer. Tell your captain we'll move on.
Don't forget to leave the loot and 60 groschen, too.
There's no denying you're a good negotiator, lad. Oh well. No doubt we'll find easier pickings elsewhere. Better run along before Bernard loses patience.
Rivers of blood and a bloody flood.
60 groschen ain't shit, dog. What the fuck? First, a lot more than that.
Smells like a dead horse, eh? What was you want? All right, princess. I'll have you know a real man.
Alright, what were we saying? Went over the equipment and stats. Gameplay. We talked about that a little bit. I guess I like the new moveset. Like, with the third weapon, it feels like what they gutted out is still... It's enough, you know, it encourages me to use all the things. Maybe they made the blades a bit less useful. I feel like I used them too much before, once they came online. Whereas in this one, it definitely felt like they all had their own purpose, but I did still favor the axe because of its more extensive moveset. Otherwise... Oh, the artifacts. You get like a use item. It does take experience to level up, but there's a lot of them. They all have their own things. My personal favorites were the chakram. That you just throw and it does like an interrupt on a boss attack. And it's useful just for that alone. But it also flicks the Bifrost status, which is new. And that's like a regenerating damage, but if you hit them before it regenerates, it detonates and does big damage. I used that for a long time. The first one you get is just like temporary damage buff. Useful enough. And the one I ended up using more in the late game was you damage yourself to do fat damage in an AoE. I got that. I was like, oh ho ho, somebody thinks I didn't play Tales of Arise. I wasn't afraid to use it at all. I coupled that with a piece of equipment that made me take less damage when doing runic attacks or using the relic, and it made it so the self-harm was lessened by like half, and that made it all the more useful. So that was a pretty sweet combo. It was eventually replaced by a thing I got for beating one of the super bosses, which summoned like a ton of swords that just like stun lock the fuck out of everything on screen. It did about as much damage, but the stun lock lasted longer, so I was able to get in more of my own damage in combination with it, and that made it slightly more useful. But I would say they're all pretty balanced, though that one probably outclasses the others by quite a bit. And, you know, obviously you had to work hard. It's one of the last things you're going to get in the game, so it's okay that it breaks the balance slightly. Where is Bernard? Launch? You? No. Oh, there he is. Blending in with the wood fence.
I've just come back from Wolfling, Captain.
And in one piece, I see. That's something at least, but I doubt you achieved anything.
I talked them into moving out. Not only that, but they left all their loot and 70 groschen too, as compensation.
I can hardly believe it. That turned out a lot better than I expected. The coin is for Sir Hanush, I expect.
Naturally.
Well then, take the money and ride to Ratai. In the meantime, we'll break camp and make sure those bastards keep their part of the bargain.
Right, Captain. I'll be on my way.
And Henry, nice work. See you later.
What the hell did Hands do? Thought he was supposed to come with me. He did if I chose to attack him.
Greetings.
I went to parley with Wolflin.
So how did that go?
I convinced him to take his gang and leave.
Really? I knew you were no fool, but that's something else. You're a born diplomat, Henry.
I don't know about that.
Don't be so modest. We have to drink to this. Good luck.
Hell yeah, bro. Skills. Just a stat. That one. Okay, so you get more than just the boy as your companion this time, right? You have a second companion as well as a couple situational ones for when either tagged out. I wish there was a way to switch between the two main guys who have their own skill trees, but there is not. Basically, you'll have Boy most of the time, and then post-game, Boy goes off to do his own thing. Don't worry, he's fine. Don't worry, Kratos is fine. I'm sorry I had to spoil that, but yeah. Yeah, you're stuck with companion number 2, which I will leave secret because that is like a major story event. I mean, you knew you were gonna win, right? It's how it goes. Maybe Kratos was gonna die, but you know, we're good. We're good. You knew that you were gonna kill Odin. That's not a spoiler at all. Anyways. It's annoying because you had so little time with companion number 2 that you have to like go grind out their experience to unlock their full skill tree once you are stuck with them post game and there's no way to switch back to Boy. Speaking of Boy, he is like 3 or 4 years older now, so he's like a teenager. He's got a cracking teenager voice. Mohawk looks a little less silly. And he's respectable, you know. He's doing his own shit. He's not freaking giving Kratos lip all the time. He's doing stuff without being told. He still does like some sneaky bullshit, and that's like the whole issue in the story, you know. That's where all the conflict comes from, the fact that he is trying to do stuff behind the man's back. But you know, he's like cool, right? He bonded with Kratos in the first game, and now he's like, they're more open with each other. Kratos is a lot more open with his emotions. He's still a bit of a wall, but like, he talks a lot more. And he doesn't even call him boy anymore. Like, he earned his respect. He calls him Atreus. Except for one particular scene where it's very dramatic. Where he actually says it. It happens once in the game. Speaking of drama, yeah, the game's very good. Like, it's maybe some of the best acting you'll have ever seen in any piece of media, game or movie. And the intro of the game alone is fucking high octane as fuck. So much happens. You fight Thor in the first hour, you have a meeting with Odin. Freaking have a run-in with the bad boy's mom. And, you know, things, like, cool down a little bit from there, but it's kind of like in waves, you know? You get, like, crazy shit happens, and then you get a while to explore one of the big open hub zones. And then crazy shit happens again, and you maybe get stuck into one of the more linear maps. And then you get a new hub zone. And, you know, the pacing feels good like that. Usually before you're about to switch characters, because you don't always play Kratos this time either. They'll leave you to one of the hub zones, which there are a handful of. There's Alfheim, Svartalheim, Midgard, and Vanaheim. Those ones are all open. The other ones are more linear. And they all do, you do go to all of them. They all do have their own section at least, but Niflheim specifically feels like nothing until you get to the story event for it. And Muspelheim is just like Trials again until you do the story thing. The Trials I was slightly disappointed with, I guess. In that there's only 3 of them, and they have 3 different challenges you can do, but you have to redo them all a lot to do the final thing where you like, each one has a rune associated with it, and you need to do each of the 9 rune combos of the 3 stones. So you have to do all the missions twice. And then you have to redo them all 3 times or whatever for each order to get all the rewards from the arena, the challenges. Which were fine, you know, I picked the easy ones eventually. They were all fun to do the first time at least. And then you get a unique challenge to do after you put in the combination. And those are all hard, they're all unique. Some were fun, some were less fun, but difficult. And you get some endgame rewards out of them, like they were worth it to do at least. And it didn't take that long, but I don't know, maybe a little longer than I expected. Somehow. I think we probably need to rest until morning.
Yeah.
Before it took me so long because you had like a linear path that you did all these challenges in different maps. This one you only have the 3 zones with the things that have different challenges associated with them. But you know, you climb to the top of the mountain and then you go back to the bottom and do them all again with the restriction on them or something. I don't remember how it worked. Then there was the super boss at the top. There was no super boss at the top this time. So you did have 3 more well thought out arenas, I suppose. More interesting movement between them. Better spawn patterns, more interesting challenges. It's less fighting, more like this is one where the enemies regenerate, so you have to do ring outs exclusively, or you can't get hit for this one. Or like there's a portal, the enemies drop stones, you gotta throw rocks in the portal before the timer hits. Or like you gotta keep the enemies out of these rings to get progress on the meter. A lot of variety and all of that. You know, those are fun. I think I maybe had a better time doing them, actually, despite being disappointed with, like, how few of them or how much I had to redo them. I think they were overall funner. With all these big hub zones, they're actually populated somewhat. The one main town you go to in Svartalheim, the dwarf town, they'll, like, go inside and are afraid when you come by, but you still meet, like, a significant number of talking NPCs, characters who want to speak to you, and you'll do quests for them all the time. Which is weird, because in the previous game there was, like, the witch, your 2 blacksmiths, and the bad guys, which there were like 3 of, and that was it. The cast is like more than tripled. So you get flashbacks, so you actually get to like learn a bit more about Faye, Atreus' mom, like you never even saw her before. Speaking of hub zones, I forgot, one of them in Vanaheim has like this massive optional area. There is nothing that takes you over there, but it took me like 6 hours or so to do everything over there. That was like a really cool surprise to run into. It was like a boss rush too, there was so much cool shit over there. Music, I'm pretty sure the game got the award for best soundtrack or something, which, you know, totally robbed Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I've even played it, I know the soundtrack's better, because this is all just like epic orchestra, you know? It's good, it's fitting, it's awesome, but like, it's not inspired. I don't feel like it's unique. I wouldn't recognize this epic orchestra over other epic orchestras. Where Xenoblade's got Flute Guy. Come on, everybody loves Flute Guy. Still, sound design is amazing overall. Even the little speaker on the controller, you'll hear like little clinks from your armor and stuff, or chains on the dog sled. It's really cool. It's something that I didn't really notice until just then, that like that speaker was even there. It's so underutilized, or it's so quiet. Hanish hits the green, right? I just kind of assumed he'd be at his bedroom, because he's over here.
God bless you. What trouble?
I have news from the camp, Sir Hanush.
Speak.
I persuaded Captain Bernard to let me parley with Wulflin.
Bernard agreed. I'm surprised.
So was I. I promised Wulflin safe conduct out of your territory, on condition he leave all the loot he took, and pay 60 groschen in compensation.
Well done. It will take Bernard a while to get over his disappointment at not being able to get revenge. But the important thing is, we're rid of that troublemaker. I must say, Henry, after all that's happened recently, I'm glad something finally turned out well.
So am I, sir.
And I think you deserve to be rewarded for your efforts.
Thank you, sir.
See you later.
I think that might be a little better than the one I put away. Throw that in the stash. And I want to buy a scarf while I'm here. I feel like my neck just looks so weird. It's got like the little fat jut where the chain connects. Huh. So, side content, there's a lot of it, and the game has like a pretty extensive end game, I guess you'd say. Like, there are entire areas that you can't access until after you finish the story. There are lots of collectibles and side quests that are half finished until you finish the story. You know, that's a little annoying, honestly. I tried to get it all done before I could, but there were just lots and lots of things that you were unable to do until beating it. So I hope you're not the guy who just wants to, like, wash your hands and never play the game again after you finish, because there's plenty to do afterwards. In fact, you don't even get proper, like, credits screen until you do one of the optional things at the end. You get, like, credits while you're walking away into the open world. But, like, you don't get black screen credits, music, whatever, until you do the thing. You know, the ravens are back. There's just random shit to collect. You gotta open all the chests. There are lots and lots of quest-related things. They're like ghosts you talk to sometimes, do favors for them. And there are the super bosses. So, the old game had the giant with the big club. He's not really a giant, he was a troll or something. These giants are something else. And, you know, it had the Valkyries. And both of those are still in this game, but there are so many more bosses. Like, there are dragons, there are the crocodile thingies, there are light and dark elf lords, which both have their own movesets. They both behave very differently. Alright, it's not better. They're like these centaur deer thing hunters that show up sometimes. They're bandit lords and Hanyar lords. The main bosses, of course, you know, a couple gods, a couple big creatures. And then the berserkers. So, like, you know, there's a massive variety of bosses here that get thrown out as optional content sometimes. You'll fight the same thing, but, like, with a different element. Or, you know, with a different enemy combination with them. But, you know, I'd say you only fight each boss around 2-3 times at most. As opposed to every time. The berserkers are the new guys. They're like the Valkyries. You find these gravestones in each world, you fight them. And they're hard as fuck. I've heard mixed things about all of them. Like, some people think that they're too weighty. Like, you know, you dodge attacks and then you get a couple hits in and then you dodge again. And some of them definitely were like that. Others were more aggressive. They have a couple different types. There's ranged guys, there are melee guys, there's a tanky guy. You can tell what they are just by looking at them. They all have their own classes. But what really pissed me off were the ones that came in groups. Like, some of them would have enemies that they kept spawning with them. And, you know, these guys are really distracting, so if you try to not get freaking killed in 2 or 3 hits by the normal enemies, this guy's gonna one-hit you with an attack he charged up while off-screen. Or sometimes they'll make you fight 2 or even 3 of the actual bosses, rather than having enemies. Which, you know, they'll have less health altogether, but, like, there's just so many of them, it's so difficult to keep up with. Like, keep your eyes on all of them, especially with the camera being so close to character during combat. I feel like it needs to pull back some. So you can actually tell when an enemy is coming from behind you. Because all you have is this little arrow indicator around yourself, like a compass. And it'll flash when enemies in an attack animation, but not like before they're going to, not before the hit's going to land. Not just like for the duration of the entire animation, whether it's fast, whether it's slow, whether it's a projectile coming at you eventually. And it's not even going to hit you with its current trajectory. So, like, it's very not useful, and, like, if something's behind you, you're a little fucked. That was an issue in the previous game, it was not at all fixed. Still, it's generally not too big a problem. You have moves to push guys in front of you with normal enemies, but with some bosses specifically, like the one that took me 6 hours to kill, the new Valkyrie Queen, who is just a little bit worse than the old one. She's like very mobile, and you know, she gets behind you, and then you're fucked. You gotta turn around, and you don't know where the fuck she is. She might be charging up some move that's gonna one-shot you. Or she does the thing where she jumps in the air and stomps down on you. She, like, in her last phase, she mixes up the timing on it to be unpredictable, and that makes it complete bullshit, because there's no way of looking up to tell when the fuck she's gonna come down. You just have to feel out when you think she might be landing, and get lucky to not get dick stomped into oblivion. You know, the whole time she's fucking stomping on your nuts, be like, bow to your queen. And I'm just like, oh, geez, sorry, mommy, fuck.
Take care.
So, you know, if you ain't into being a fucking sub, you're not gonna have a good time fighting her, alright? Took me 6 goddamn hours. I like the pattern on this, but I'm not sure it meshes well. Like, it kind of fits, but I'd rather get something that's a little more blue. Not terrible. Yeah, that contrasts too much. The gloves almost stick out a bit, but they're pimp. That's too much. The yellow and the reds are not, they're not winners. It's kind of cool, but I'm trying to keep my feet exposed. Just want a scarf piece. I might go with the gray. I have a gray hood. I think I'll stick with the scarf. Want this or the checkered? The darker yellow looks better with the rest of it. Yeah, I think I'll just go with the scarf. Handsome. Okay. I've got that breastplate to sell, and then we'll go right up to Pribyslavitz.
Greetings, good night.
So yeah, I actually had an easier time with the Berserkers than that one optional Valkyrie Queen. However, There is no however. That's just what happened. I got to the Berserker King. I killed him in like an hour, right? It only took a few tries. He wasn't so bad. He mixed up all the moves that all the other guys had without all the major annoyances like multiple enemies to watch. It was just him. He had a couple different statuses, but he wasn't too spammy with them. He'd switch between them. He was a pretty good boss. I liked him. You know, it's a mixed bag with them. Some of them go down easy, some of them are fucking awful because crowd control kind of sucks. And yeah, some of them were like hit and wait, like the ranged ones specifically, but eventually you get tools for that. Like you get the spear, you knock him out of the air, and like he becomes a fucking joke. You just gotta figure out how to counter specific moves that are giving you trouble sometimes. And sometimes, you know, you'll find an actual very real counter that gives you a major bonus. And that's really satisfying when you figure it out. Now, all that's left to talk about is the story, which, you know, it's the hard part. I already said that, like, there's so much more, there's so many more characters, so much more happens. The pacing was really good, the acting was phenomenal. And, you know what happens. You kill Odin. But everyone else who gets hurt in between, whatever happens in between, that's all original to the game, right? And, you know, there's some real craziness that happens there. And I love how, you know, in the first hour you fight Thor. You don't kill Thor, you fight him again later. But I love that they, like, didn't hide it. They knew we were gonna fight him. And, you know, we beat his ass. So, like, whether or not we're gonna kill him later, that's up in the air. Because, you know, he might respect you or something now. And I was ultimately surprised with his fate. Like, it had me thinking that one thing was going to happen, like he's Thor, you know, he's the future king of Asgard. I figured maybe he's going to be our ally or something, or we kill him, that's always a possibility too, but then what actually happened was like, what? And you meet his daughter, she's pretty cool. I said your companions have skill trees, so I think it's safe to say that they are some of the people that you'll play on their own sometimes. And what's really cool about them is their like passive moves become actual moves that you unlock, and like vice versa. So you unlock new techniques to use, like you hold a button and beat the shit out of a guy, and the ground pound, and then when you switch back to Kratos, you'll be able to use that passively and like hold a guy down for you by doing that. So they are no longer just press square and they'll shoot arrows, so that's still an option. They will actively fight as well, which is pretty cool. And they have more equipment, like you can get different bows for Boy, and you can put armors on them, but the armors are just cosmetic. But he does have charms you can do to change up what his arrows do some.
I can't just drop everything and leave.
Ran off in the wrong direction, dog. We are heading up here.
Yeah.
It was cool how things usually play out by, like, technicalities, rather than strictly following the Norse mythology script. It, like, yeah, this happens, but it's a little different than how it was written, or it happened for different reasons. It happened with a different character or something, you know? For example, what's his face? Fenrir, Loki's son, the wolf, he's supposed to, like, eat Odin, and he does help you in the battle with Odin, even though he dies at the beginning of the game. Not too much of a spoiler, it shows you the soul going into the kid's knife right away, like, you figure out how to use it later on. Plus, you can go to Helheim, like, you know that the dead aren't dead. But, you know, that, for example, obviously, Fenrir isn't actually Atreus' kid, like, he's freaking 13. He is, however, his pet dog.
Yeah.
So I feel like at the end of the previous entry, you saw, like, a mural with the dead Kratos. I'm pretty sure he hit it, though I'm not entirely sure that happened, but relatively early in this game, Atreus runs into that, and that's, like, the driving force of this, that he's doing stuff behind Kratos' back to try and prevent his death, even though Kratos knows that it's coming, and just never told him about it. So, like, miscommunication, it's their whole issue. But they learn to trust each other even more than before through these trials. And, you know, I'm very happy with Kratos' ultimate fate. I didn't see it coming. I didn't even think it was a possibility. But, you know, I think he earned it. You know, in the same way that, like, the story didn't play out quite how you thought it would by the script. That's, like, how the prophecies work, too. Everybody's so obsessed with prophecies, what they're told is gonna happen, that they refuse to make any choices for themselves, and, like, they still end up stumbling into what they read happens with the prophecy, but they maybe able to change things just a little bit. It's usually Kratos' doing, since he doesn't give a fuck about fate. And, you know, that specifically always keeps you on your toes. You're like, oh, yeah, they're trying to make it different, but this keeps happening. They did do what the thing said.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, needless to say, it was amazing. The only minor complaint I have is that because of the companions, like, switching out, you will hear different dialogue during side quests depending on who is with you. And, you know, I feel like I maybe missed out on some stuff by having Companion A with me instead of Companion B, and vice versa. And, you know, there's, like, just a small thing to make replaying worth it. If they were to add a New Game Plus. They probably will. I feel like the achievements were a little easier this time. They didn't require me to collect all of everything. I just did that for my own satisfaction. But, like, the final axe upgrade, had to wait till post-game to get. And there was no achievement for getting that. It just made beating the last super boss easier. Where the fuck am I going? In the right way, apparently, but I feel like I'm not. You got different arrow types too, by the way. It's not just lightning and light, and I think there was a third one again. You got 2 different elements, unique status effects. I forgot to mention them. One is like a hex, so when you use your ranged attack, it'll trigger an elemental explosion. And guys will just take more damage in general while they're affected by it. And the other one is Sonic. When you use that, guys will like ring out and do AoE damage, and also take additional stun. And the other stat specs are all there, you just have more unconventional ways of applying them. Kinda cool. But I wish I had, like, a more easy way to get any of them, like maybe a way to switch the element on a weapon. Oh, I also thought it was really cool how, like, your Metroidvania upgrades, like, stayed. You kept all your old tools, and you got some new ones. Not too many new ones, but, you know, they didn't just toss out the shit that you had. Like, you start the game with only the axe, but very quickly after that intro, you will grab the blades, and things get a little more complicated. And, like, you start with your Bifrost flashlight. Yeah. I don't think I can speak too much more about what happens without getting more spoilerly. Of course, I had to spoil some things that are minor. You knew were coming. But I think that we'll call that there. There's just so much to talk about, and it was very lengthy. So the question really is, do I like it more or less than the other one? And that, I'm gonna say I'm not sure. Like, the pacing is so drastically different, and I don't love all the changes that they made, but I respect them. I appreciate that they tried something different. And, like, there's seemingly so much more content, it's at least 20 hours longer. But, you know, it's like less of a... less intimate experience, I suppose, you know? It's not like a heartwarming story, it's just action. And it's good action, it's better than any fucking Marvel movie you've watched, but... you know, the old one was just a father-son journey, it was a fun adventure. Shit eventually hit the fan towards the end, but this one shit's constantly hitting the fucking fan, you know? And I don't know, like, it's got its pros and it's got its cons between the two. I don't think I could give it a higher rating, even though I think I gave like a 10 or at least a 9 to the other one. Like, I'm gonna say it's about the same, you know? I'm not sure if it's better. But, like, it tried, and, you know, somebody might prefer it if you had, like, small gripes with the other one. Or you could hate it more, I don't know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I'll stick with whatever we had. It's probably a 10. But there are some caveats. So, maybe we'll move them both to 9s. Decimal points if I did decimal points, but I don't. Still, best thing I played all year. I can't believe Elden Ring won Game of the Year. I told you guys it's not as good as Dark Souls 3. Dark Souls 3 was not even nominated the year it came out. Elden Ring is buggy as fuck. It doesn't run well. The open world's kind of bland. They didn't fix the PvP issue. It lets people brick your PC. It doesn't even look that good. It looks like Dark Souls 3 for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
I think people would also be salty if God of War 1, since it like came out literally a month before the awards, and like it kind of shouldn't have qualified, but like the fact that it was nominated means that it had a chance, and I'm like, it definitely deserved it over it. But you know, maybe Xenoblade 3 could have gotten it too. I don't know, I haven't played it yet. I'm just mad that Elden Ring got it specifically. I'm not simping. Dude, I'm like the worst navigator. I feel like I should have gotten here forever ago. Are we on time, by the way? 3 hours. Yeah, we're probably at a decent place once we get our things built. Taking our 10-15 minutes. We still got like 2 things to talk about. But those were some big discussions. And they were relevant to each other, so it's good that we did them both in one session. Oh, small thing, with like the collectibles for lore and stuff. When you're going around like Midgard, you get items from other cultures. So like they acknowledge that Egypt exists. They acknowledge that China is a place, and you might see stuff from them in future games if they go for it. The question's up in the air as to who you're gonna keep playing, because I feel like Kratos is retiring. I said he's fine, but I doubt that he's gonna stay your protagonist. And, you know, it could be Atreus, or it could be someone else, one of the new characters. I'd be pretty okay with seeing more of. So, considering what happened to one specific character, I think Atreus has more of a stake for something that will keep going, I suppose. And, you know, it makes some sense to just stick with him. Maybe he'll be even less of a bitch next time. You know, he got better. He became more respectable, and now, like, it's gonna be how many more years the next time he'll be a man. A man's man. Oh, and speaking of Kratos being more open, he laughs occasionally, very occasionally. It's rare. But, like, you know, they're cracking jokes more in this, which was interesting to see. Some people might like it, some people might hate it, think it's out of character, but I thought that it was, like, earned. I thought that it happened rarely enough that it didn't feel off, like you really had to get him with a good one. Jesus Christ, we're finally here. We got some judgment to cast as well.
Master Bailiff,
You're new here, aren't you? Welcome.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Sylvester is my name. I got here just this very day and came looking for you right away. I heard you was looking for handy tradesmen, see?
True, but it depends what you can do.
I'm a baker, sir, and if I may be so bold, one of the best there is.
Good. We don't have a baker yet. So, tell me something about yourself.
I'll tell you, Master Bailiff, but only on one condition. That what I say will remain only between the two of us till Judgment Day.
Jesus Christ, what do you have to say?
Well, I must say that's a surprise. But yes, I swear on my honour as bailiff.
All right, then. I can see you're a worthy man. Your name precedes you. I'll be straight with you. I know this village very well, seeing as how I was here not long ago. That is, until you and Sir Radzig and his men came and cleared the place out.
Oh, he's a bandit.
With the bandits?
I was only serving them as cook and baker, like, but soon as I saw your lot coming, I took to my heels in a hurry. I never robbed nor hurt nobody. I needed work, and them bandits paid well. After all, a man's got to make a living somehow, and them wasn't the kind of fellas you says no to.
Yeah, don't worry about it, bud. You're gonna make me some nice honey buns.
I see. So you were with Runt's band. Might someone recognise you?
Far as I know, anyone who'd know my face is dead. Some thanks to you, sir.
If word got out that I was hiding a bandit from the law...
I'd rather give myself up than get you or anyone else into trouble. All I'm after is to start an honest life again.
Respectable.
Fair enough. Since you came clean, I'll trust you and keep your secret. You're hired.
Thank you, sir. You won't regret it. I promise you.
Man's gonna make me some money.
Hey!
Hey! Oi!
Hey!
Stop. 15,000? That's how much I earned this? Holy moly. I can build a lot more things than I thought I could. I could build one of the bigger things like the blacksmith then, yeah. Yeah. That forge. Forge mode.
I want to build some.
Certainly.
We'll need plenty of tools, and they'll need repairing too. So we have to...
Right. That should do it. We've got everything we need to start building.
Question is, do I buy upgrades or the stables? I think the stable upgrades some things. Gonna be more expensive than the upgrades. And I've just spent half of what we had, so I should have about 7,000 still available. I don't know. I'll have to look in the book. See if the stables makes or loses me money. I think it's just gonna reduce the cost, but probably have some upkeep itself, and like it'll probably even out. So I think I just made my own argument. I gotta make the upgrades.
We're gonna build here?
Right here.
Ah.
I'm ready.
I'll just quickly check again that we have... All good.
When I get back to Sasau, I can hire the 2 master smiths, and that'll get me more money. And maybe a actual good merchant over here. Maybe, I don't know. But going for those two first should be my priority, I suppose. That business in Sasau. Yeah, boy, everybody need tools.
I want to build.
Certainly.
An armourer will always find custom and won't go hungry. We should have one here too.
Good. We've got everything.
Yeah, Molly's here, baby.
We're going to build here?
Yes. Sure.
I'm ready.
I'll just quickly check again that we have... We've still got the means.
Hell yeah, brother, we're making income. That's what I'm talking about. Probably just breached 100 a day. Where's Marius?
I want to build some.
Certainly.
Ah, I see. I can only have one. However, I don't think I know a master swordsmith, so the armor was like better. No, I do, but I don't know if we're gonna get the Queen of Sheba's sword. There's only 5 more pieces to collect. It can't be that bad if I go look it up, but I don't know if that'll be fun to watch.
The tavern could have its own brewery. Then we'll have fresher ale and fatter profits.
Let's go to the site. I'll see to the building.
We're going to build here?
Yes.
I'm ready.
I'll just quickly check again. We've got what we need.
I don't know if I'll make it back to Rattay in time for the tourney, so we're probably gonna skip this one. After all this building, it's the time skips are just gonna fuck me, aren't they? Yeah. I think you only have to, like, maybe 16 after. Oh! He's got me some local beer. There he is.
I want to build...
Certainly.
Folk like a game of dice, and so do I. We should have a dice table and invite some players. Maybe I can even win back some of what I'm paying out in wages.
Very well. Come along with me. Once we're there, I'll oversee the building.
Yomp, yomp. Gambling.
We're going to build here?
Yes. Shall we get started?
I'm ready.
I'll just quickly check. All good.
That's what I said. 16 after was a gross overestimation. I think he had till noon. Now it's night, dog. Alright, we got dice. Nice field over here. Very spacious tavern, actually. It's got a little gazebo. Room, probably bed place. The whole neighborhood. A little fortress. Picking up that whole camp area they had before. How much money do we think we have left? 2,000? Three. 3.3. Wonder if I can build anything. I doubt it. Ooh, we're almost getting 200 a day, boy. That's cute. Got the hand with the dice coming out of the top of it now. Wasn't expecting the improvements to show. The forge at. Ah, it's got the shield on it. Right behind the trader. Rat house costs money, but not too expensive. Bring some justice to these lands, though. Come before the guardhouse, or do I need the rat house first? Swordsmith can't be built, that's lame. I feel like there's more cool variety with armor. Like, you get a good sword, that's all you need. Maybe if this place has some unique armors, though. Gonna spend money on once I'm rich. Won't be anytime soon. We still got a lot of expenses to pay. Stables, 5,000. Oh, no, these do in fact make money. Not that much, but it's not gonna have any upkeep like I thought it would, so that's our next thing. Can't be built with guardhouse. What the fuck? Archery range is +5. Weapons from forge. Still +8. Or no, just +5. That comes out to 19. Oh wait, plus tavern customers, so 19 is 34. 34. Whereas this one would come out to +7, that's 24, +12, also 36. So stables are better than the guardhouse, plus the guards can stay in the fucking rat house anyway. We're gonna go with stables. And that's like everything. We can start building the main upgrades after that. You know, the equipment's needed, but you don't need that much money to get to that part. Cool, cool. Those we should sleep and save. And then, when will I see you guys next? I think we still have a week before Christmas. Like, I'm probably going to take that time period off to myself, of course, but I'll probably have a day off before then, and if that's the case, I will see you guys then. So, probably a week, possibly 2 weeks. That's how we're rolling right now. Gabish! And we, of course, have a few more things to talk about. And, you know, we might even have another one or two by then. They're playing something that I don't think is going to be too long. And, yeah. That took about as long as I thought it would. So, bye-bye, gang. We made progress. We did quests. We finished Band of Bastards. We made profits. Built a lot of things. We made a lot of money. I feel great. You should too. Have a nice day.